Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we have on Mike Deleon. How are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Doing all right, man. Hanging out in South Texas right now. Been a been a pretty chill day. Great weather out here.
What is the weather for there? Like with
Uh, Texas weather, man. It's always like every day is the whatever the Texas weather feels like doing. Today it was absolutely beautiful, 70 degrees, but this weekend it's going to be freezing. So
the
it's just one day
one?
is this, the next day is that. It's kind of up to it's up to Texas, man. But today was absolutely gorgeous day. I live right in a town right by the river, so I got to see the river today for a little bit, and it was just a very beautiful day here in Texas, man.
When you say Texas weather, like because I've never been there, I just assume it's always muggy with mosquitoes that are as big as birds. But that's because I live in New England, and I mean it's cold on the south, but like this morning I went, there was no snow. It was it's been getting warmer here. Get out of work, there's snow on the ground, snow on my car. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's crazy. That's
Right?
crazy. I like that area. I've been up there a few
Yep.
times. I've toured, I've toured the states, and I've been up in the New England area. I got some friends out in like in the Boston area
Yeah,
and
I'm right
stuff.
between Boston. I'm between Boston and New York, so it's really great. I'm like a couple
Oh,
hours between
great.
the two, so you can go between the two, and then you're not. Then I'm only a couple hours up from like Maine and other places, so you can go skiing. It's kind of a nice central area to be with actual seasons, four of them.
That's great. That's great. Here where I'm at, right in Texas, I'm right between Austin and San Antonio, and San Antonio is a big metal city, and so is Austin. So it's good. I'm like literally 30 minutes right in the middle of both cities. So if when a lot of tours come through town, if it doesn't hit Austin, it'll hit San Antonio. If it doesn't hit San Antonio, it'll hit Austin. So I'm at a nice little central spot where I like to catch, or even if it hits both cities and I got the time, I'll go catch my favorite show both nights in a row, man. And but it's a cool part of Texas, and it's right in the heart of the entire state, so it's a real cool spot to be in. I dig it.
Well, Texas, and right now, kind of tie in is actually Texas. You're playing with a singer who was in a band that was once known in Texas or something. Somebody might know who the band was at one point. But before we go there, you've been in a couple other bands too. Can you do like a little evolution of you just to the people that aren't aware of who you are? Because before we hop in, I don't get ahead
Oh,
of myself.
all right, man. I'm a Texas cat. I've been playing here in the Texas metal scene for well over 20 plus years of my life, and I started out in my main first band. We were called Disfigured, and it was just a good death metal band, and we did the circuit. We opened up for everybody, and we got to do some touring, around the states a little bit, and it was definitely a good start to my career. I got to do about 10 years of just of just in just playing wherever we could get booked at. So it was good, getting in the metal scene that way. And then I joined a band a little bit later called MOD, who was fronted by Billy Milano, who was also an SOD. And I got to take it up a notch a little bit more and got to see the world a little bit more, and get to go play Hellfest in France in front of like
That's
80,000
where I first
people.
heard you from was when you MOD.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had some ups and some downs in that band, but it was a really good experience. And it honestly, as a metal guitar player, it really helped shape that right hand. I just got a lot tighter with those 80s riffs and that crunch. Coming from death metal, it was that, which it was a whole array of stuff, but being more of like an 80s punk and being tight, it really made things really good on the hands. And some of those 80s guitar solos that MOD, SOD were doing, it was just it made me a better player overall. And then one thing led to another, and I got asked to join where I'm at today. Currently, I'm jamming with Philip Anselmo and the Illegals, man. And Philip is from from Pantera. He has work in Down, and he has work in Superjoint, Ritual, and many other bands. And in between that, I also jam in some other bands as well. I just joined a band. While I have some free time, I've joined a band out of Arizona called INCITE.
You
And
actually
they've
joined him.
been
I know
around.
you stood in for him, so you actually joined him now. Cool.
Yeah, like it hasn't been announced yet, it's probably being announced right here. I talked about it recently with another friend of mine,
Mhm.
and but it'll be announced here real soon. But I'm gonna be joining them full time. We did 4 shows last year, opening for El Nino, which was great. There were 4 sold out Texas shows, and I was just gonna be filling in. But one thing led to another, and they asked me if I wanted to do it. And while I have some downtime, Philip's busy right now, getting ready to do some shows with Down. I have some
Well, he has
time
some
on my.
downtime. He also has some downtime, right?
Yeah, he has some downtime,
Downtime.
literally. Yeah,
Well, that's
definitely.
the
And
thing with work with Phil. He's got a lot of bands, so so it leaves it open for you to join a few bands too in your time.
yeah, definitely. I want to, and I'm a guy that likes to stay busy with music. When I'm not jamming, I'm in my studio too, writing music. Writing my own personal tunes. But as well as INCITE, I play in a local death metal band, still keeping it, on
Yeah.
the street and keeping it local. And we're called Flesh Hoarder, and we just put out a brand new album. It's really Cannibal Corpse influenced death metal. It's just heavy and dirty and rowdy, man. But we definitely we have some gigs lining up. We are staying busy as well. So I'm doing all sorts of stuff. And but with the illegals, we've been doing the Pantera sets, which has been insanely huge. It's pretty mind blowing, man. Being a Texas dude, and being a dude that was in the seats with my pops watching Pantera, down on the stage, to be there doing it now with Philip, and on the scale that we got to do it on is just it's just a crazy experience. And definitely, as a guitar player, really focused and really into the Dimebag style. He was never trying to be Dime, was always trying to be Mike, but definitely try to pay homage the best I could. And as the more we did it, the tighter and tighter it got. And we did a couple of shows a few months back in Texas that were absolutely bonkers, man. Balls to the wall, packed, crazy mosh pits, and everybody who attended those couple of shows walked away with the spirit of 20 years ago and just feeling the old vibes, man. Because that's
Celebration too of the brothers, in the music and the legacy, and it's so good he's doing it now. I think it's the best that he's because he has so many other bands, but to do it and for you to be part of it is such a great thing. I mean, I've heard some of your clips of you on live doing it online and stuff, and it sounds great. I mean, it's when you cover someone's music, you don't have to be them because they're already them. You don't need that.
exactly. And especially with a band like Pantera, they just celebrated the 30-year anniversary last week of Vulgar Display of Power. And I'm talking about a monumental album. It'll be
Years.
timeless
I am
for.
so old. I remember getting that album.
I mean, even for me, I was right around 10 years old when it came out. And I remember, hearing Walk on the radio as a 10-year-old kid, and 30 years later, it's so crazy to say 30 years, but, 60 years from now, that album will still stand the test of time, and people can still listen to A Vulgar Display of Power. And,
Yeah.
so for us in the Illegals to do those songs, like I said, it's just us paying tribute, especially to Dime and Vinny, and just to have fun and bring back those old jams and bring back those old times. So it's definitely been a trip. It's been a good
Good.
time.
No one else can do it. I mean, I'll tell you, I think when I saw Pantera when I first heard of them, they would do the concrete foundations back in the day. People actually saw people. And a friend went and saw the thing and said, "Oh, I saw this band. I'm not really into this kind of heavy metal, whatever stuff." They gave me the cassette, and it was Pantera. I listened to it. I was like, "Oh, it's Cowboys." So later on, they came around. I was living in Atlanta at the time, so they came and played the Masquerade Club twice. First time they came, they opened up for Prong. They're the opening act. Then they came back with Prong, and then they were headlining it, and Prong was opening for them. They flipped over because that was the process where they were just starting to grow. And I remember it was a crazy concert. I mean, they just went up, they ripped. Dimebag was just shredding. And this was on their first, when they were opening, because after he got off the stage, like he just crazy solo, he jumped down on the floor and he's just going crazy. Not a huge crowd because they're still growing on the first one. He comes out afterwards, and in the club, they had just got a breathalyzer by the door. I don't even know if I told the story in the show, so whoever's heard it, I apologize. But the breathalyzer was like by the door. They just got it in the club. And he came out afterwards to probably see Prong, and I was like, oh, we started talking, because every story with him is legendary because he was just great. He's like Phil. It's like, you just talk to him. And we were talking. He's like, he goes, he starts talking with whatever. He wants to try the breathalyzer. He blows on it. And the thing is bonkers. It's like, it's like those things at the carnivals when it just goes to the top. And
yeah.
I'm like, I couldn't believe he was so gone, but he was so coherent in that solo. Like it was, to me, I couldn't even imagine that. And then he goes, oh, that's not right. And then he goes, I was like, of course, I'd have the money. He goes, here, I put some money in. He had me do it. I just had like a couple drinks, so it's nothing. So it moved a little bit, but nothing. He goes, what? He does himself again. It goes crazy through the roof. He does something crazy. He punches it and breaks it. Next week I come back there. They never brought it back to the club again. Got broken the first time by Dimebag. Never put it back in the club.
That's an awesome story. I never heard that before. That's a great story right there, man. I love hearing Dimebag stories. I've heard so many, and I love to. It never gets old hearing Dimebag stories. He was so full of life and so full of character and just one of a kind. Yesterday I looked at the time and it was 3:33, and I was with my metal buddy, and I was like, bro, it's dime time. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, it's 3:33. This is Dime's time right now. I was like, just still live, it's just you still live on his life. And like I said, we pay tribute, to before every set. Philip still says these next songs are going to be in tribute to to Philip and to Vinny, to Dimebag and to Vinny Paul. And we come out and we try to lay waste with those songs, man. And just, like I said, just laugh and smile and bring back that old vibe and have fun doing it, man. And still rip as best as you can, because that's what they were doing, man. They were ripping, man. So we're just trying to have fun with it. But as well as that, the Illegals are also working on new music. We have.
I love you guys. Did I see you? We step back 1 second. I actually saw you did some play with Superjoint too. I don't know, and the status of Superjoint changed, and because there's I don't know, issues with the band, and they stopped. But that band was fantastic.
Yeah, Superjoint was a great band. I saw them back in the early 2000s when they were doing like the second album, and they were really on fire. They were really going, just pissed off at the world. It seemed like, just on fire. And then they kind of went away for a little while. Everyone went and did their thing. And then in about 2014, they came back and just did a handful of shows, a couple of tours, a new album, and then kind of just I like to stay on the back burner, because for Philip, you never know. One day he might just be like, hey guys, let's call Superjoint up and let's get together. And I got to jam with them once, but it was just like a cameo night. They played up in Austin, Texas.
I saw a clip online of it prior, and I was like,
yeah. I like the story on that is I learned the song the night before. I was in my jam room rocking, and I was like, man, Superjoint's coming to town tomorrow night. I wonder if they would let me, because I was already hanging with all the guys, and I was like, I wonder if they let me come up and do a song with them. So I learned the song like in 5 or 10 minutes, just the main riff, and just kind of got it down. And then the next night, I walked up to my friend Jimmy Bauer, and who plays guitar, and I said, hey man, is it cool if I come up and do a song? And he looked at me and he said, go for it. He's like, it's one less song that I gotta play. And I was like, cool, That's perfect, man. And I got to go up and do a song, and it was in my home. It was right down the street from my hometown, so it was a hometown crowd, and the place went fucking nuts. And it was just a really, really cool 5 minutes of rock and roll, man. And it was a good time.
That was that probably the part that kind of got the flame going with you and Phil at that point, because you had met before previously, but never done anything musically. So that was the first time, right? You guys had jammed or done anything together, right?
That is actually very true. Like we have already had been jamming behind the scenes. We have already had been recording stuff, but we hadn't released anything yet, and we hadn't done anything live or anything at that point. That was my first official moment of being on stage with Philip and performing a song. It was my first
It
time.
wasn't like he just met you. You could see the love for you from him.
Oh yeah,
So
like
it was not like, oh, this is a guy in the stage. It's like there's a relationship there that, you know.
yes. And I tell people, me and Philip have with every one of us, we all have a one of a kind relationship with him. Each of us in the Illegals and all his bands, he has a relationship with everybody. And he's my brother, man. I love Philip because we've become so close. He's my bro, he's my brother. And I got married, like I said, I got married 2 months ago. 2 months ago yesterday. And I appreciate it. And Philip and his wife Kate, they came from Louisiana and they came to my wedding, and it was cool because it was in my little town, and all my friends that were all there from my bands and whatnot. And Philip was there, just mingling and really getting to enjoy himself.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
He's all grown up looking.
Yeah, it was a good time to have him there around all my family, and to have the man, I call him the boss because he's my boss, man. And to have him here, it was just awesome. He's super cool. So like if you see the footage that night, like you say, you can already see there's some sort of bond going on already, because he just welcomed me with open arms from what I had been through in my MOD days. And it's just, he's been my brother ever since. And all the guys in the Illegals were just a big brotherhood of dudes, and the whole housecore crew, everybody's rad. Everybody's just, we all look out for one another. So it's super rad.
I'm glad to hear you guys are strong together too, because I dig the band. We just Phil's bands alone. He would just apply my show. If I've done Scour, I've had him on. Like I could just from all the artists, like it would be a whole thing there without even talking to him.
Yeah, you could interview like a member of each band, and we could all say something different in all totally. and each thing. The Illegals, man. I'll talk about the Illegals, but I also want to talk about my other bands too, because everyone's been ripping. The INCITE, I can't wait to do that, because they have a new album that's coming out on April the 8th, and that's going to be a fun run. But real quick with the Illegals, it's been a blast being in that band. We're going to play obscure, extreme metal. It's just like whatever we're feeling at the time. We could go from really heavy death metal to black metal to grindcore, but then we can mix it up and play something totally opposite. And it's just really slow acoustic vibes where we're just feeling whatever we're feeling in the room. And it's great to have that, like no pressure. And Philip will tell you this right away. We have no rules. It's just whatever we're feeling. We can write death metal, and then we could write, a disco song, because we've done it. We'll go from one to the other and write just stuff that we're feeling, just up tempo funk tunes. So it's really, really cool. Jamming with the Illegals, and I can't wait till everybody gets to hear what we've been working on, and get everything out to everybody when the time is right. It'll be great.
Be awesome. I've loved the album so far, so that's good to hear. No, this is about you and all the bands you're at. Just no particular thing we need to talk about in particular. I saw the video, like I said, that I think you were filling in before you.
Yes,
and that was good for INCITE.
Yes, it was it was awesome. Like I said, we did 4 days back to back, and I kind, it was new to me, you know, coming into that. I didn't really know what to expect, and it was metal, man. It was just old school, straightforward tunes, right up my alley, and I came out swinging as hard as I can, ripping solos, just lots of energy, lots of headbanging, and lots of weed and lots of fun. So it was definitely a good time. Now I'm gonna be playing with them full time. I'm gonna try my best to help them write some songs, you know, write some riffs, and bring everything I can to the table. We have a 3-day run coming up next month here at Texas Run, and it'll be in conjunction with the release of their new album Wake Up Dead, and it's great. I've already heard the whole thing, and it's just classic, catchy metal songs, man. And I can't wait for us to land a really big tour, and you know, hopefully down the road, and do some touring and in support of the new album. And it's going to be a good time. All those guys in that band are great, and I can't wait to jam. It's going to be a lot of fun with the INCITE crew for sure, man. It's going to be killer.
I saw it was a really tight sounding for it was like the first show you did, the first song, and that's all I heard was that one time. I was like, it really was. It was a tight performance for like never
Awesome,
being in a
man.
band before. It was like, you know, if no one said anything, you really would probably wouldn't even known. You know, I mean, like, oh,
Fuck yeah. Like that's what I was going for, just to come in and just to groove, you know, have some fun, and just jam. Coming from the MOD days, it as weird as that is, it just tied it in. As weird as that sounds, just like learning some metal songs and then learning some metal songs, it just kind of, it just tied it in for me. As weird as that sounded, it was just like riffs. It was like straightforward riffs, and I was like, all right, I got this right here. And with the 3 shows that we got coming up, we're adding more songs, because we were just doing a 30-minute set on the run that we just did.
right.
Now we're gonna do 3 headlining shows, and so now we're adding some more stuff. So I've been in INCITE mode, I gotta say, these last few days, learning more songs, learning more riffs, and I always call it a jumble. It's just like a jumble of notes in my head. It's just riff after riff, and that's how it was with the Illegals too. Learning everything when I first came in, it was just a jumble of notes, just like lots of stuff. So it's what I enjoy, and I love, you know, I love it all. So anytime I got to get a guitar in my hand,
Yeah,
and
going on there too.
and play, it's great. This right here is my Dean. I just signed over with Dean Guitars. I got my Dimebag Dean back there. I like to use for the tribute sets, and I have names for these Deans. I want to tell you, I got Avocado, like an avocado, because it's green. It's great. And then I got my main guitar that I like to use for the most of the sets. This is Salsa. So I got salsa and avocado. It's perfect. It's brown and green. So whenever I'm talking to my tech, they know which one is which. It's pretty straightforward. And I just signed on with Dean about 6 months ago. I was with Jackson Guitars for about 3 or 4 years, and I was doing my best to wave the Jackson flag. We did the Slayer tour at the end of 2019, which was a whole, so many stories just in that, you know, 30 days time frame. It was just so many awesome
Lifetime.
stories. Yeah, it was so great. We got to do a lot of cool stuff, but I was really trying to wave the flag for Jackson Guitars, and it was just, it was the right time to move from them over to Dean. They've been great. They've been really supportive of me, and I really appreciate all that Dean has done. And they're going to be building me my very first custom USA Dean guitar, and I get to design a guitar, and I cannot wait for everyone to see what I got stirring up. It's going to be a total throwback to I'll even say it's going to be an old throwback to like the old KK Downing hammer guitar from the old Judas Priest days in the mid 80s and stuff. I'm just kind of trying to go for some old throwback feel, but with a Dean body. And I'm also sponsored by EMG, so I'm gonna try to get some EMG, some nice EMGs. They just sent me a package. I'm gonna try to get some EMGs in there, and just try to rock it best I can. I've been loving the Deans. They sound really, really good. I got the Screaming Demon, the Dimebucker, Seymour Duncan in there right now.
That's
and
what you had there for, yeah.
It's a ripping pickup. And then I got another Seymour Duncan called the DMT going top and bottom right here. But this Dimebucker, man, it's fucking screaming Dimebag. I love it. Like it's what he was using, and you know, his setup and all, and you can just get screams like no other, it seems like, out of this pickup. So this, I'm gonna match it up with some EMGs, and I'm gonna go full throttle, man. I can't wait to get it out.
What are you using for string gauges?
String gauges, I like to do 10s through 52s, the Ernie Ball heavy bottoms, and it's a little orange pack, I believe, or might be a purple. Yeah, a little dark orange pack. I actually just got with Ernie Ball a couple days ago, and they're sending me some strings out for the INCITE run, and 10s on the bottoms and 52s on tops. Tuning wise, for the illegals and for the most part, we are in C sharp standard. A lot of people want to know that, and hardly anybody, you know, ever get to know that. So C sharp standard is what we're rocking, and you know, and it's just trying to go for the old heavy tones, using some Mesa Boogie amplifiers, and just rocking all sorts of odds and ends, man. But it's been a real, like I said, just a really good feel guitar wise. It's been great.
You any pedals?
I like to, me and the other guitar player in the illegals, we like to run through these Moors. You ever heard of the Moor product? Yeah, so. It's MOOER, Moor. And we run these pedals. I have a GE 300. That's what my I get some tones out of there, and some, you know, some effects and whatnot. But I also use the old school, the Digitech whammy pedal for a lot of the Pantera stuff. Dimebag was just screaming on that whammy pedal, man. So it's great to run through that. I'm using the old school Crybaby wah wah pedal, you know, because it never fails me. You know, just to dial it in exactly how I want it, and just rip with the wah wah pedal. It's great. I really, really dig that. And then just right into my Moor and into a little tuner, you know, and right into my Moor, and just rocking some old school tones, man. Got that Mesa Boogie and heavy crunch, man, and just trying to bring those chunks, man. Those heavy chunks.
You sound very heavy when I've heard you. Well, I want to thank you first off for being on. It's been great. We're gonna put your links. Send your links to me. I'll put them underneath on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, so people can click and go to see any of your stuff you want. Your socials.
I sure will, man.
I encourage people, check him out on all of his different bands. Don't just see Phil's band, see him and all the other bands too, because they are really good, you know, and check them out online. You know,
I just wanted to say thanks so much for having me, man. I could talk to you for hours and hours about all sorts of odds and ends.
We could, yeah,
for sure, man. And anytime I'm in your neck of the woods,
yeah,
you know, hit me up, and we'll try to meet up and come see some metal and hang out, man. And to everyone out there, much love from Texas. Check out the illegals, check out Hoarder, and check out INCITE, man. It's going to be super heavy, and lots of Texas twang, and I can't wait, man. It's going to be a good time.